Welcome back. As we promised, we are going to shed more light on the Qatar 2022 World Cup, which started yesterday with an amazing opening ceremony with the attendance of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi upon an invitation from Qatar Emir Tamim bin Hamad, along with a number of Arab world leaders, Saudi Crown Prince, Algerian President Tebboune, and a lot of heads of states, heads of government. And it was such an event calling for unity among all people, among all peoples, all sides, working for the sake of humanity, stressing that tolerance, coexistence, accepting the other is the most important thing which we should all work on, which we should all work to for the sake of humanity at large and for the sake of coming generations, far from conflicts, far from struggles, far from wars, far from sectarian strifes, you name it. Well, to shed more light on the event and to shed more light on also the opening ceremony, we are very much delighted to have with us via phone Mr. Hatem Maher, our sports analyst. A very good morning to you, Captain Hatem. Hello?
Hello?
Hello, a very good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, yesterday the whole world or all eyes were focusing on the opening ceremony of the 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar. Before going into more details, how did you manage to follow up the opening ceremony, and to what extent it said that we can here in the Arab world organize such mega events?
I think the opening I think the opening was a good spectacle. It was not that impressive, but I think they got the job done. It was simple, and it featured prominent stars like Morgan Freeman.
Yeah.
It was watched by the whole world. I think Qatar was clever in adopting an Arabic theme for the opening and for the tournament itself. For example, from choosing the names of stadiums to every banner, to everything they put around the tournament. I was very happy that they picked Arabic words for pretty much everything, because it's important to in such events to show the identity of the host. This was the case in Russia. This was the case in Brazil. This was the case in South Africa. So I believe Arab countries should be no different. So it was important to show our Arabic identity to the whole world. I think Qatar did that very well.
Great. And to go to the match, Qatar and Ecuador, and I think that this is the first time a host country is defeated in the opening match of the World Cup in all competitions. True? Sir, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sir, I was asking about the match between Ecuador and Qatar, the opening game, which ended with a 2-0 defeat for Qatar, the very first time a host nation is defeated in the opening match of the World Cup competition since it started. True?
Hello?
Yes, sir. I was asking you about the opening game between Qatar and Ecuador, which ended 2-0 for Ecuador.
Yeah.
And it's the very first time in the history of the competition that the host country is defeated in the first half. But I think it was expected.
Yeah, I think I believe that it was expected. The result was expected, but the display was not expected because Qatar played very poorly, to be honest. Ecuador is naturally a bigger team, is a stronger team, but I believe Qatar should have put up a bigger fight. They couldn't threaten for the whole 90 minutes. I think they couldn't threaten at once. Maybe just a chance before halftime.
Yeah.
And that's it. Apart from that, Ecuador was all over Qatar throughout the 90 minutes. They scored an early goal and then they doubled their lead, and then it was a walk in the park for Ecuador. And this unfortunately leaves Qatar's chances to advance to the next stage in jeopardy because they have two tough matches coming up against Senegal and the Netherlands, which on the performance we saw yesterday, I don't think Qatar has much chance to get any points from those two games.
Yes. Sir, before going into the coming matches you've mentioned, a yes or no question, if you permit me. Was the first goal an offside?
No, it was it was offside, and that was clear from the replay because FIFA is testing a new technology that makes it a semi-automated, makes offside calls semi-automated. So
Yeah.
I don't think there's much margin for error. So yes, I think it was offside.
Yeah. Sir, the coming two matches the Qatar team are going to go through, as you've kindly mentioned, against Senegal and against the Netherlands. Some would say that Senegal without Mané, even from the psychological point of view, they are going to be toothless, not in front of Qatar, but in general. This was a setback for the African squad. And others are saying that Netherlands are of the team's heavyweight ones, which are expected to go further and even to reach the final. Would you please, sir, elaborate on your insight regarding those two national teams?
I believe the Netherlands naturally are expected to top the group because they are stronger team they are the stronger team in everything. That leaves second place as a competition between Senegal and Ecuador. Senegal will be dearly affected by the absence of Mané because he's the primary source of danger. He's the best player. He's the most creative among Senegal's players.
Yeah.
But they still have many other good players who play in famed European leagues. So I think they should be fine, but they will lack the creative spark in the final third because of Mané's absence. So
Yeah.
I think it might be tight between Ecuador and Senegal because Ecuador is also a good team. So I think this will be there will be a strong and fierce competition between both teams for the group's second ticket to the second round.
Sir, in your opinion, who are going to be the black horses of this edition of the competition? I mean, give me two or three or even four to be the golden square of this edition of the World Cup.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
I'd like to have your insight regarding the golden square. In your opinion, who are going to be the coming black horses of this edition?
I don't think there's a team that can bring surprises in this edition. I think those who will compete in the latter stages will be the normal forces, the natural strong forces that we know, like France, like Brazil, like Argentina, like England. Maybe I can tip Iran, maybe to advance to the next stage, but not to spring a major surprise. But I believe they can make it to the second round, and this will be the first time for Iran in this case to go to the second round. But otherwise, I am not expecting much surprises in this edition.
I mean, sir, let me put my question in other words. Many sports analysts think that this is going to be the return to the Latin Americans and that we are going once again to enjoy the skills of the Argentinians and the Brazilians. If you agree with them or no, and why?
Yeah, for Latin American forces, we only have Argentina and Brazil who can go all the way. Brazil are actually much better and more prepared than Argentina. I know Argentina takes inspiration from the presence of Messi, but
Yeah.
Brazil is a complete squad actually, and they are one of the main favorites to win the tournament. They have one of the best squads in the entire, not only in Latin America but in the entire World Cup.
Yeah.
So for me, Brazil maybe are the number one favorites for this title. Argentina are promising, but I don't think Messi alone can propel them to the title.
Sure, it's
Messi
not a one-man show. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And in past editions, Messi was brilliant, but because of the thin squad that Argentina used to have, they could not win the tournament, although they reached the final once. But in this edition, I think Brazil has a very good generation, very promising, very young, and this all makes it one of the favorites for the title.
I think it's only emotional, knowing well that this is going to be the last for Leo, the last for Ronaldo. When it comes to Portugal, of course, many people would say that we hope that one of them is going to carry the trophy or take the trophy back home. But sir, if you permit me to ask about the Arab participation, about Morocco, Saudi Arabia, in addition to the host country, Qatar, of course, and Tunisia included. How do you see the Arab participation?
I don't think, unfortunately, I don't think they have much a chance to advance. They were drawn in some tough groups,
Yes.
and given the recent performances, I don't think any of them has a good chance to progress. Tunisia and Morocco and Saudi Arabia, none of them were actually good before the tournament or in pre-season or in pre-tournament friendlies. So unfortunately, I don't think any of them has a realistic chance of going through. And the same applies to African teams apart from Senegal. Senegal is the only African team that has a good chance to progress. Otherwise, unfortunately, I believe all of them would be eliminated from the group stage.
Sir, do you think that this is going to be a tough competition among the coaches rather than the players, especially the squads which are suffering the absence of key players? Senegal, Mane, Benzema, France, Son, Korea. I don't know if he's going to continue and to return back or to be able to join the squad later on. There are a lot of injuries in this edition in specific when it comes to key players in many of the national teams. This is going to show us who is going to manage this issue, to compensate, to be able to fill the gap.
Yeah, I believe the role of coaches will be very crucial because even the big teams miss many prominent stars. For example, for me, before the tournament started, I believed France with the top favorite team for the World Cup. But actually, after the state of injuries they had, I think Brazil has a better chance. France is missing Karim Benzema, is missing Kanté, Pogba,
Yes.
Kimpembe. All of those are regular players in the starting lineup. So this might greatly affect their chances to go all the way. So I believe, yeah, definitely the coach has a big responsibility to make up for the absences, and this applies to all other teams who are missing star players. But France is the biggest casualty of injuries.
Yes.
So Didier Deschamps, the coach, will have his work cut out to make up for those absences if France is to challenge for the title.
And you know, many other critics are even joking about France. We are not expecting that they are going to go forward. They are going to suffer the bad luck of the winner or the last champion. This is going to be the same as what happened with Spain before, as what happened with Germany before, and in many other editions. Do you agree with them that this is going to be the case because it's something we are all used to, or this is only a joke?
No, I think this is only a joke. I don't believe in omens. I don't believe in such theories. But in fact, this might happen, but for footballing reasons. Yeah, mainly because France is missing many key players. But otherwise, I don't think this applies to any edition. It was. Maybe it's purely luck. It's always, for example, when France won the 1998 World Cup and were eliminated in the 2002 World Cup. This was mainly because Zidane was missing. Zinedine Zidane only played in the last group stage game, and he didn't have much time to save the team. They had a weaker squad than the one they had in 1998, so that was not expected to be eliminated from the group stage, but they didn't have much chance to defend the title. So I think
you are reminding
it's
us of the good old days. Okay, if you permit me, sir, to speak a little bit more, since we are mentioning the European national teams to go to Germany. Many also others are, I'm just here to represent the other side of the coin, that Germany, they do not have this big chance, despite the fact that Hans Flick is one of the most prestigious, if we may say, coaches, but they are in, if I can name it this way or describe it this way, a transitional period. They are going to show new names relatively. So we cannot expect the very same organized, systematic performance by them. Do you agree or no? We are going to find this is the German squad with all its system, organization, harmony, you name it.
I believe Germany can never be ruled out, whatever the circumstances. Germany is one of the teams that even without prominent stars, they usually go to the latter stages. Last edition, when they were eliminated from the group stage, that was an exception, and that was stunning. I don't think that will ever happen again. When they reach the final,
No,
actually, when they reach the
sir.
final,
This will not happen again because the difference between Joachim Löw and Hans Flick, or for other reasons.
No, for other reasons, because they have a very promising squad. They actually have many good players, and their coach is very good. Joachim Löw was actually good. He won the World Cup before, so I don't think he was the only reason for their elimination at the last edition. But this time around, I believe they have a very promising players, like, for example, Musiala, the young playmaker of Bayern Munich. Such players can be very good, and finally they have some creative spark. This player is very, very talented. So this is usually missing in Germany's squad. Even when they are very efficient, they usually lack the kind of creative players who can make the difference in tight spaces. So this time it might be a bit different, and Hansi Flick has a proven track record of success. So I believe they can reach as far as the semi-final. Maybe compete for the title. Who knows?
And I don't know why, in this very, in my humble opinion, bad timing, Neuer announced his illness and announced why he was absent for such long times before going into these surgeries, being affected with cancer. Why the announcement in this very critical timing before going into the World Cup? Do you think that this was the right timing to say so, or to release these data about him and about his health case?
I don't think there's a problem in that, because he has fully recovered, and this is the most important thing. As long as he's fit, he's now thankfully he's now cancer free. So there's no problem in announcing what he had gone through before the tournament. I don't think this will be a distraction to any of the players. On the contrary, they would welcome his presence, because he's the skipper. He's one of the greatest goalkeepers in the history of the game, not only in the history of Germany.
Amen.
So no, I don't think there was a problem in that announcement before the World Cup.
He's a champion and he's a role model by all means. And we are going, inshallah, to enjoy every single match in this competition. Mr. Hatem Maher, our sports analyst, thank you very much for your input, sir, and have a very good day. And deadlier than COVID or even rivaling cancer, researchers have been increasingly attempting to calculate the effect climate change will have on health if the world does not act quickly to reduce carbon emissions. Let's watch, and then we are going to be back with more, so stay tuned.
Deadlier than COVID or even rivaling cancer, researchers have been increasingly attempting to calculate the effect climate change will have on health if the world does not act quickly to reduce carbon emissions. The World Health Organization, WHO,